This episode is brought to you by Amazon Business. We could all use more time. Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions, so you can spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. I can see why they call it smart. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
If you were listening to most other podcasts, they probably would have violated copyright by playing you a theme from the song from Friends. Wait, what show am I listening to, you're thinking? Why would they play a theme song from Friends? It's talking real money. It's not talking real sitcoms. Well, Friends was one of the most popular sitcoms that ever aired on television. It was really popular, ran a long time, a lot of great people in it. It was funny, it was well-written, it was well-directed, it was a good show. It propelled some folks to stardom. Nice, all-around nice story. Well, we were both reading the news as we do, and we're looking for money stories. And this one came up by a woman named Laura Beck, which was published on a lot of different online services. And she decided, now that the characters from Friends are in their 50s, those that are still alive, maybe it's a good idea, maybe it'd be cute to look back at their characters and those characters' personas, careers, thought processes, and see how they would be doing today as retirement savers and planners. And it's kind of fun. So we decided we would talk a little bit about the gang in the apartment above Central Perk in New York.
Love it, yeah.
Friends, peoples. And the article started out talking about the Bing family. And if you don't remember, Monica, who was the sister of Ross,
you're not going to forget
married
Courtney
Chandler.
Cox. You're not going to forget Courtney Cox. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to forget her.
No,
So,
Courtney Cox is adorable.
Yes, she is.
Even today, she's still adorable.
She is still
she's
adorable.
an adorable
Yes.
old lady.
Oh,
So how would the Bing family, how would they be doing today as they approach, retirement in about a decade?
Yeah, and when I read this piece, I had 236 episodes. That is a long time on television. That
is a
long time. And I was trying to decide
back when a TV season was 13 weeks long.
Exactly.
Though.
Yeah, remember I used to do 40 episodes a year on my television show. 40 a year. And I did that 6 years. So I got 240. So I beat them. I think we made about the same amount of money, my show versus her show. It was close, I think. No?
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
yeah.
If you want to delude yourself, yep. Mm-hmm. And of course, you reached the same level of stardom as Jennifer
there's
Aniston.
that too, of course.
And
So
Courtney Cox.
Setting that aside for a moment. Yeah, so, okay. How would they have done?
The Bings. Let's start with the Bings.
Yeah, Monica Bing.
Chandler and Monica.
Yeah.
Chandler, who's no longer with us.
My recollection, because if you just said Courtney Cox's, persona and all this, I would say very competitive, but I'd also say obsessive compulsive.
She was very
That was my
obsessive,
recollection of her. And how do people like that do with their money? Maybe good, maybe not good. Now, they're looking at their income. Laura's looking at their income. Mm-hmm. Are they savers? Would they be somebody to be planners? Yeah, I think they would be. I think those,
she would have absolutely, without fail, because her company would have put it in front of her, and she would have said, yep, I am contributing to my 401k. Same for Chandler. They would have both put in as much as they could afford into that 401k.
Yeah, but here's my worry. And in the article, she says Monica would have a detailed spreadsheet showing exactly how their 4% withdrawal rate covers projected expenses with backup plans for market downturns. I mean, she's not Monte Carlo, but pretty doggone good. I mean, this is fairly sophisticated planning.
I don't know. Now, wait a minute. Because they're living in today's world, she might have even been using
Good
AI
point.
to run Monte Carlo simulations.
That is very true. So, yeah, that's all good. My worry would be anybody who has to have perfection in all parts of their life. We see this a lot where people are saying, wait, I'm in these Vanguard funds, but you just said something about Avantis or dementia? Should I move from?
Oh, she would be one of those thinkers like we get. Those overthinkers, kind of like you're overthinking this exercise.
Yeah, I am. There's no doubt.
Because she's giving you the answer. You could just use that. You don't have to go, well, I think I'm going to argue with her
true.
answer.
That's true.
No,
because
see, you're overthinking it because guess what you are?
Overthinking. I'm not upset. Please don't say it. Don't.
You know you
please,
are.
Please don't. So,
wait a minute. What time do you work out every day?
We're not going there. We're leaving that today. We're leaving that today. Okay. I got my own problems, as we like to say. So that is a worry because I run into many of you that have done so many things right, but you say, well, what if I did this? I hear about this. I got to try this. That would be one of my issues for Monica. But then the other one would also be, frankly, she might be somebody who needs help with spending money eventually, because of many people who are savers, who are compulsively saving and investing for a lifetime.
Don't want to spend.
They don't want to spend. We run into a lot of them where we say, we just met with a couple this week. You've got the money. You got to figure out the purpose of that money. That might be harder for her. Poor old Matthew Perry playing Chandler Bing. I mean, the thing I see about him is I think you'd have a contrast between styles between Monica and Chandler in terms of the investing style. My sense is from Chandler, he'd be far more conservative investor than Monica. Maybe they balance each other out, but this is always the battle, right, in the household. That's my take.
I don't see that, but I guess it's been a long time since I watched Friends, so maybe I forgot something about him. But I seem to remember that he was pretty OCD too.
Not as much as her, but you're right. There's some of that. But again, I think in the big picture, you're absolutely right. I'm overthinking it. They would have saved. They would have invested. Yeah.
Given the fact that they both probably had pretty decent incomes throughout their working years, because they both had good jobs. She was a chef, so she was making decent money. He was an exec, so he was making great money, probably.
And didn't he leave and took another job, if I remember, somewhere along the line?
Yeah, but the fact is, they'd probably, in their 401ks and other savings vehicles, they'd have in the millions of dollars.
Yeah, so maybe they'd be $1.5 million to $2 million. Yeah.
They'd be going into retirement pretty darn comfortable.
They would. So a good couple, some things to work on. Sorry that things didn't work out for Matthew Perry, because I always liked his acting ability. But then you get to Ross.
Yeah, now Ross was a professor of paleontology, not exactly a high-income career.
No, and he's got the headwind of, what was it, 3 divorces, if I remember right, or something?
Yeah, but he's past child support and the like now.
But those, as you know, that cuts into what you're able to save for a long period of time, because you got to hand out checks to all those people. And a bit, maybe, can I say it, neurotic? Is my take.
Well, he was totally neurotic.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't want to get in trouble here, psychoanalyzing people. But he would have the advantage that many people do not have today, and that is pension plus Social Security. People underrate having that fixed income. It does a couple of things. First of all, it provides fixed income. And then psychologically, for many people in retirement, the toughest thing is to figure out how to turn the spigot on from money they've saved. You don't have to worry about that with a pension. That's just coming to it. It helps many, many people do far better.
And he probably would have been the only character in the show who had a job that is very likely to pay a pension once you retire.
Yeah, as a professor.
He's a tenured professor now.
Correct.
So he would have gotten a nice pension. So he wouldn't have had to save too much.
Yeah, and that's a good news, because I think it would have been a horrible investor with all the anxiety, self-doubt, depression, all those. That is not the person you want to have manage. He would definitely need an advisor, somebody to say, put it there, don't touch it, leave it, and call me when you're feeling the anxiety about the government shutdown or whatever thing has come along.
Another character who probably would have needed an advisor was Rachel. Rachel lived the good life and was oblivious. Really oblivious, I think, to money. I don't think
this is Jennifer Aniston's character, for those.
Yeah, I really don't think she thought about money.
By the way, David Schwimmer played the previous. Sorry, go ahead.
She really isn't like wealthy. She like the character in the morning show.
Yeah,
where that woman's making a fortune in television. Yes. Her job was just working kind of as a grunt in the fashion industry. So she wasn't making a lot of money. And
she was a spender.
How might Rachel have fared?
I don't think very well. I think she would have woken up at 55 and said, "Hey, do I need to do something? Because I want to quit in a few years." Well, yeah, you need to do that when you're 30 or 25 or 20. Because if you're going to have a spotty employment record, if you're really not going to be a big earner, you got to start early and you got to invest properly. So I think she would be facing a shortfall right about now, because I think she'd be in her 50s somewhere right about now. And she'd be like, what am I going to do? Well, then the options get skinnier. As you know, Don, you got to save more. You got to invest better. And you probably have to do that other thing that people hate if they don't love their jobs, and that is you've got to work longer. You're going to have to keep on going. The combination, as I say, of not having terrific employment, but also being a bit of a spender is my recollection. There was no.
Oh, yeah, she lived high on
Yeah,
the hog.
so,
She really did. And another one, and this I can really connect with this with Joey, because Joey was a New
singer,
York
right?
actor. No, he was a stage actor.
Okay, all right, that's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
he was he was a stage actor. He wasn't really even a stage singer
That's right.
or dancer, which can do reasonably well in New York. But this hits very close to home because my late brother
does. Yeah.
was a Broadway actor.
And he had his good days and his bad days, right? From terms of money.
while when you work, you do reasonably well. You get the salaries are
Sure.
good. When
Yep.
you don't work, it's really hard to make
And that's so
ends
hard
meet.
I mean, we get paychecks every week. A certain amount comes out of those paychecks. I never see the money. It's gone. When you're kind of self-employed like this too, much harder to save. We see this over and over and over again for people. It just the money comes in and I got to pay this, I got to do that, instead of making sure it's set aside. In my case, I never see the money. It's simply gone. It's in an account and it's invested.
However,
easier.
something they did not mention in this, and I think they should have mentioned if they really were familiar, the author was familiar with New York theater and television, is that Joey would absolutely have been a member of SAG-AFTRA. Absolutely would have been a union member. And if he worked as much as it appeared he did, and even if it was not steadily, every time you've got a job, you're earning points toward the SAG-AFTRA pension.
Which is how much, though?
It's not great. Well, it depends on how much you work. It depends on how much you work.
Okay, because we just ran into somebody who was getting a pension. It was $320 a month. I'm like, well, every dollar helps, but that's not going to pay the bills.
Well, a SAG-AFTRA pension is going to be better than that.
Okay. I'd be curious.
The
After
average,
25 years.
The average, and that is taking into account the fact that most actors don't perform regularly and they don't perform at a high level like New York. The average annual is about $7,500 a year. That's average.
A year or a month?
A year.
$7,500 a year?
Yeah, that's
No
average.
offense,
but
but
a guy like him,
Say it's 10. Even that's not going to change your life.
a guy like him though would have been at a higher level.
Okay.
He would have been at a higher level.
We'll give him double.
So he probably
$1,000 a month.
Well, he'd probably be at like a couple thousand a month because that's where
Okay, well,
David.
couple
That's where
thousand a
David
year.
was going to land.
Okay, plus Social Security. That's
Plus
going to
Social
help.
Security. It's
But
gonna,
that's
you
still
have to
gonna be
leave New York
skinny.
City.
Yeah, you'd be very comfortable in places in North Dakota, but not so much on either coast. That'd be hard. So those kind of jobs are again, and you have to figure out how to pay yourself first in those circumstances. And most people struggle, as I say, with that. That's enough for me. But if you want to take up Phoebe, too,
No, we
because
have
she's
to
a cute
do
character.
Phoebe.
Okay, you go.
Phoebe
right
the
ahead.
Spacey.
I know.
Now
She
remember,
was fun.
Phoebe was a massage therapist.
Yeah, right. That's
So
right.
she was probably making
wasn't her hubby a lawyer or something like that?
she married a guy who was a lawyer, but he
That's right,
wasn't
yeah.
a high end lawyer.
Not-
he
yeah,
was more like a
Public
anyway. Yeah,
defender
he worked
type.
like a public
Yeah.
defender kind of
Yeah,
thing.
not big money.
And the article says that because she's whacked, she probably she may have come up with some really great ideas. I disagree. I think that whacked people
You're
come
going
up
to give
with
the money to
dumb
the wrong
ideas.
person or hear something
Yeah.
like, oh, the guy in the cubicle next to me said this. No,
I
don't
think
do
Phoebe
that.
would.
Yeah.
Now, of course, for the show, they probably would have written in the fact that she made these great investments based on really bad ideas that just ended up working for her. But in reality, she probably would have lost a fortune, had a
Nope.
fight with Mike, and ended up divorced.
there's that. But my take when I went back and thought about this, she probably took whatever savings she had, rolled it over into an expensive annuity, and that was that. That was my take.
That was it. No, I don't think she would have been smart enough to do that.
All right, okay.
I think what happened is they got divorced. He had to pay her some alimony for a while. He decided that since he had to pay that, it was better to go into the corporate law field and make
some real money. Yeah.
So he did really, really, really well. And she, by the time she was in her late 50s and her hands were arthritic, she's busking.
Working.
She's busking in Times Square.
Ugh, that's sad. All right,
that's the downer I'm going to end it on.
That's sad.
You could end up busking in Times Square.
God, you never know. Here's the thing. When I go back and think about this big picture, great show, as you said. Wonderful show. Great idea. This is really fascinating. But a couple things that came away from me. Personality doesn't necessarily mean the result is preordained, because you could be really smart and be obsessive, whatever it is, and still make bad decisions. Your income, you could still make a lot of money and still not save enough, right? And circumstances can change your life dramatically. That's another one. But I think, again, the bottom line for me, if I was one of the friends, when you're 30, you need to try to understand who you are. It's hard at 30. I can tell people who I am now because I've had enough experience with myself.
Yeah, you didn't know at 30. If you did, you're unusual, because I knew nothing about myself at 30.
Yeah,
I didn't know at 30 what I was. I just kept stumbling into jobs by then. I didn't know what I was doing for a living.
But it's an important thing to know around who you are emotionally with money. If you can figure that out, because you could fix things still. You could say, again, the right thing is to make, because for me, it's perfect that the money goes away, it gets invested, I never see it, I might spend it. I know that about myself. So if you could figure those things out earlier, as some of the friends might have and some of them might not have, you're going to be in a far better place when you get to your 50s. So great show. Maybe not great retirees. I'm not sure.
Well, no, I'm telling you, the winners were the Bings. They did the best. And Phoebe's ex-husband, he did pretty well.
That's true. Yeah. Very
I made him X. They didn't write that in the show. I just carried it to its logical conclusion. Okay. He's going, no, I am not dealing with you anymore. You're such a whack. And, because sometimes people who are a little whacked when they're young kind of go completely off the deep end when they're older. And so that's why I see her as a,
this
like
present
a 60-year-old.
Company excluded, right? So
No, not excluded at all. No,
you
look
think
at us.
I'm headed. I know you think week by week it's a little worse. So okay.
It's all over.
Oh, God. All right, let's go to the question. Can I read questions still? Bob writes us from Carruthers, California. He says, I'm far from retirement, but I have a general question. What are your thoughts on setting aside a portion of your portfolio for a fixed inflation-adjusted withdrawal rate, right? That's where you take out a percentage of the portfolio. And you're saying, like, you could use A, V, G, E, and B and D, and then a second portfolio with the same allocation with a flexible withdrawal rate. My preference is the fixed, but if I just have enough and flexible, if I have more than enough, will not be affected by downturns. But I'm wondering what a hybrid of the two would work like. Fixed for food and shelter, spending, etc. I appreciate any thoughts you have. Also, since I'm recovering from surgery right now, thank you, Tom, for not telling any funny jokes the last few episodes.
No, he tried. Wait, that was great. That was great because you nailed it. Thank you, Tom, for not telling any funny jokes.
Then
he has been telling jokes.
Apparently so.
But thankfully, you didn't make the poor man laugh.
Love your sense of humor, Tom, but usually I'm able to break out in peals of laughter. That's very kind of you. So
that was a backhanded compliment.
Yeah. Could you combine a fixed withdrawal rate, that is, again, taking a percentage of your portfolio every year, with a flexible withdrawal rate, which is, again, then based on how much money you have in the account and taking it out that way? Should you combine a fixed withdrawal strategy, that is a percentage of the portfolio, and a flexible where you're taking out a percentage of the portfolio, so you may have good years, you may have bad years? Is it a good idea to combine those two withdrawal strategies?
Well, thanks to artificial intelligence, which I absolutely love, I ran a 30-year hypothetical $1 million 60-40 portfolio, which assumes about a 7.6% average annual return, 2.5% inflation, in the assumption, 4% plus inflation on half, the odds of you're not running out of money on that half of the portfolio are about 97%.
So 97% success rate.
Success rate,
Yeah.
correct. That's pretty good.
Yep.
And you're taking 4% plus inflation. Over all the simulations, your median ending value is about $1.5 million. Okay? How about on the other half? The
Yeah,
$500,000 that was at 5% of the value of the portfolio each year. This is why we love flexible. Because whenever you run flexible, your success rate, your survival rate is 100%. Because you're not ever drawing it down more.
That's right.
However, it's more stable too. You don't get the big ups and downs of the market. So your median value is less than $1 million.
Which you don't care about.
Which you don't care about because you've been taking out income along the way. So what you end up with is really an interesting balance. You now kicked your survival rate across the entire portfolio up to in excess of 98%.
But there's not a wide variance between those two either. How much did you take?
No.
Does it show how much you took out from the various
I got to
strategies?
run that.
Because if under the 5%, you took more for sure, at least early on.
And these are the median annual withdrawals. So right down the middle. With the 4% rule, you would have started at $20,000 a year. Of course, with the 5%, you would have started with $25,000 a year. Over time, the 5% rule paid out a lot more.
Sure.
Because by the time you get to year 20, the 4% is paying you $32,000, and the 5% is paying you $38,000.
Big delta.
And if you make it all the way out to year 30, the difference is $7,000 a year, from $40,000 to $47,000.
And yet they both basically work in terms of survival.
And they both end up at a very, very similar place. Of course,
Live
the 4%,
large,
because you're taking less out, is likely to be more at the end, but there is a chance of running out of money.
Yeah, well, there's always a chance.
But this is an interesting experiment.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I love it. So, time for one more quick question? Well, it's not quick.
I mean, it doesn't really matter because
it doesn't
it's our
matter.
podcast. We can do it as long as we want.
Hello, Don and Tom. Blue Collar Jimmy from the armpit of California, which he says is Sencal, California, which I'm not familiar with.
Central California. Central Cal.
Thank you. I thought that was it says city, Sencal.
Yeah, no, well, I don't know. There may be a city called Sencal.
I don't. He says in early 50s.
Hey, you're the Californian.
I know, but I'm from the coast, as you know. Early 50s, don't plan to retire for another 6 to 10 years, okay? 6 to 10 years. Took the risk, quiz, scored 80. That's great. 4 years ago, I contacted you about my union's defined contribution plan that is full of high-expense American funds. There are a few decent Vanguard funds among others. Roxy suggested a 5-fund split with 20% in each. And we could go through these if you want, but it was the Vanguard Total Bond, the S&P 500, emerging markets. That's a little high for emerging markets.
That's a lot high for emerging. I think she was just going for an easy answer.
Vanguard Small, and then the RERGX, which is the developed markets. Question, and here's the question. They're adding 2 funds. They're adding the Fidelity International Index, FSPSX, and the Putnam International Value, PigWX. Question, should I replace the EuroPacific Growth Fund with these 2 new funds? Yes, is the short answer.
Not the 2, just the 1.
You wouldn't use the value? Because the
I wouldn't use the
ratio is a little
Putnam.
higher in Putnam. Yeah, the bench ratio is a little higher. I just use the Fidelity International Index. Get rid of the emerging and get rid of the developed markets. Just use that as your international exposure. I'm a little concerned to have 20% in emerging markets is pretty high. Now, it's done great, by the way, recently, so you're probably happy, but that's a pretty high ratio to have that for your stock portfolio.
Yeah. And here's the expense ratio difference. The PigWX
PigWX, that's good.
PigWX is a 2/3 of 1% exactly expense ratio.
Yeah.
I'm doing it without basis points. Did you notice?
Thank you.
Hey,
You're a good fellow
I want our
who
listeners
learns. I
to
love
be
that.
proud of me.
Well, they should.
PSPFX, is that right? Or no, FSPFX?
PSPSX. You got it. The Fidelity.
PSP or FS?
FSP. Yeah, pardon me. I don't know why I said P. Because you said P, I said P.
FX.
Yeah. Now I'm going to have to go P. So, no.
I don't have that fund.
PSX. I don't know if he calls it the Fidelity International Index, FSPSX. I don't know.
SX.
SX.
You need to use your Alpha Yankee
Sex.
Bravos.
Sex. Okay, got it. Yeah.
SP.
S for Sam.
X.
X for X-ray. How about that? Yeah.
I'm just
Better?
misunderstanding.
Fidelity International
Yeah, so the
Index.
difference is
let me see. Let me guess. The international index is 0.08.
no, you're actually real high.
Oh, okay. 0.03.
0.035. So the other one is
okay.
over 0.6% more expensive.
That's nuts. Yeah, I agree. You're right. Okay, so get rid of the emerging and get rid of the developed by just the international index.
Yep.
You'll have exposure to all those, and you get it cheaper. So
exactly.
And hang in there in the armpit, man.
Yeah, and
it's
by the way,
better
there is
now.
no,
the armpit's getting not as hot now, right? In the summer, whew, I'll bet that's
there
one
is
there.
no
SenCal.
city called SenCal.
Well, he
Tom.
wrote it under city. So
Okay,
thank you, Blue
I'm
Collar
sorry,
Jimmy, for listening.
But you don't have to take these things literally.
I just
He
read what's on the
saying
paper,
he's in
dude.
that general area.
Okay.
SenCal.
I've
I
been to the
figured you'd
armpit.
get that right off the bat.
No, I
Central
should've. You're right.
California.
I know.
Like, what do people say in the L.A., San Diego region? What do they refer to it as?
Southland?
SoCal.
Because you're
Southern California. SoCal.
Just 10 minutes ago, you said I was going crazy and crazier every day. So how do you expect me to remember anything? I'm going off the res here.
Good
Way
point.
off.
Good point.
So thank you.
Good point.
Yeah. Okay.
Good point. Point taken.
That's it. I'm off.
Okay, so we should end this? Put it out of its misery? You saved the poor guy. By the way, no bad jokes that time. No good jokes either. So congratulations on saving the poor man some pain. You did really well. We're proud of you.
I can save anybody pain. That's what it's all about.
You know, we
man.
didn't mention throughout the entire episode how you can ask us those questions.
Oh, I think we have a website, right?
There are actually kind of 4 ways to do it.
Well, you could call me.
You can actually literally call Tom.
You could actually pick up the phone right now and call 800-386-3004.
You remember the number?
I know. Shocking, right?
800-386-3004 is the number to call
at the end of the day.
Apello Wealth. That's the Apello Wealth number.
But if you call and ask for Tom, you will. I'm the only guy that you'll get me.
He's the only Tom in the
happy
office.
to do it. Yeah, happy to do it.
But that wasn't the way I was.
In the
so
office,
that's 5
too.
now. That's 5.
Oh, pardon me.
Number 1 is now just call Tom on the 800 number.
And then you could go to
Which, by the way, just for a little.
That's your number.
A little backstory.
That goes way back.
That phone number goes back to 1992, I believe. Maybe it was 91.
Wow.
That we used it for my newsletter, Don McDonald Money Letter or Mutual Fundamentals.
That's right.
It was actually Mutual Fundamentals was when we first got that.
That's right.
The phone number is 800-FUND-004.
Some guy just called and said he didn't get his newsletter in 95 through 2001 and wants a refund. I meant to tell you that. So
I stopped publishing by then. So
I know.
That's
you'll
why
have
he
to
didn't
call him
get
and
it.
work it out. He gave me his credit card for refund.
Anyway,
purposes,
here's
I didn't know.
Shh. I'm talking. I'm trying to help people and get out of this episode without any further damage. All right. Now here we go. The 5 ways. Okay, call Tom.
Call me.
Go to talkingrealmoney.com, click on the contact form, and either type your question, that's 2, or speak your question to the form. You actually speak to the form, that's 3.
Yeah.
Or Saturday, between 3 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, call 855-935-TALK or 8255. Then you can talk to us on the radio show. Or 5, go to talkingrealmoney.com, click on Meet an Advisor, and you can actually have a one-on-one conversation with one of the other Apello Wealth advisors other than Tom.
Or you could. No, that's not all. You could.
No,
Fly
there's
to
not
Seattle.
a 6th way.
Yeah, there is. Fly to Seattle, drive to Bellevue, and come and see me. Walk in. Had a guy come in the other day opening a Roth IRA. So
he just walked in?
That. So just walked in. Yeah.
He got on a plane, flew to Seattle, and walked in?
I don't know where he's from, but he just walked in.
Just some guy walked in the door.
Yeah.
People walk in the door of the office still? We don't really need that
Not
office.
many of the employees.
Honest, we don't need that office. What a waste of money.
But don't get me going on that. That will extend this for another half an hour. So stop.
Oh, but all of America is saying, please don't. All right, so we're done. We're leaving. Thank you for listening. We're gonna come back really soon though, and maybe next time, instead of talking about friends, we'll be talking real money.
The opinions and views expressed on this podcast were current on the date recorded. Opinions, estimates, forecasts, and statements of financial market trends that are based on current market conditions constitute our judgment and are subject to change without notice, including any forward-looking estimates or statements which are based on certain expectations and assumptions. Although information and opinions given have been obtained from or based on sources believed to be reliable, no warranty or representation is made as to their correctness, completeness, or accuracy. Information presented on the podcast is not personalized investment advice from Appellate Wealth. The views and strategies described may not be suitable for everyone. This podcast does not identify all the risks, direct or indirect, or other considerations which might be material to you when entering any financial transaction. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and profitable results cannot be guaranteed. We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for informational, educational, and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. The podcast is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Appellate Wealth, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Please see Appellate Wealth's ADV Part 2A on our website for information regarding Appellate's fees and services. Appellate Capital, LLC, DBA Appellate Wealth, is an investment advisory firm registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The firm only transacts business in the states where it is properly registered or excluded or exempt from registration requirements. Registration with the SEC or any state securities authority does not imply a certain level of skill or training. Appellate does not provide tax or legal advice, and nothing either stated or implied here should be inferred as providing such advice. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and important disclosure related to performance of any specific index or fund quoted in this podcast. And the lawyers get richer.